Alrighty, race fans, welcome to another edition of the Workbench. Well, we've got some big news today at the shop. Got a brand new part, a new Endbell from Viper Scale Racing, the new Gen-4 Pro Spring Plate Endbell, and we'll get into what all that means here in just a second. But this has been a long time coming. We've worked on this a long time, and I think we got a good part, so let's get into it. Okay, well, we started with our original model and we went through and kind of cleaned up some things and added some details here and there, and really I think have a really good good part here. Probably one of the most noticeable things is, instead of having a little pointer, we have this little circle that's been added to the top and the bottom, and that is the spring plate for the Endbell. Now that's not required. You don't have to run a spring in there, but we'll show you what that means. And we've done a few other little things that really help this this part be what I think probably one of the best Endbells that's ever come out. Alright, and I'll show you about the bushing. Alright, so normally a Endbell comes with kind of a standard bushing, just, you know, a flat surface. It's chamfered here a little bit so the armature can get in and out kind of easy. But what they call the Pro design has a little ring here. So basically, this face is stepped back a little bit, and the front of the armature contacts this point here. So there's a couple things I think that work with this bushing. Is you have a smaller contact patch, so there's possibly a very slight reduction in friction, but at the same time you may have some area between the front of the Endbell and then this portion of the bushing where maybe oil can actually be retained and not get, you know, squished out like you would have on this surface here. So these Endbells now come standard with this Pro bushing. Okay, so we in the process of coming up with this Endbell, we did about 3 iterations of the design to try to get this thing optimized. And we 3D printed parts here that we could actually put pieces in and run them, and these are very high quality, I believe SLA process, and so we were able to test this before we ever, you know, got to the stage of having this cavity injection molded, and really basically I think proved the design, proved all of the metal parts and everything, so we were really satisfied with it. But we'll talk about the spring plate here. So I don't know if we can get a good, let me see if I can get a good focus on this. Alright, so I had to kind of change backgrounds here so the camera would focus. But this is what the Endbell looks like with springs put in them. I use standard AFX pickup shoe springs, and that seems to work pretty good. You basically thread it to where you got one coil on the outside. This particular one, once I got the springs placed where I wanted them, I put a little drop of Black Max. So the idea here is for high amp draw applications, like maybe, you know, really low ohm drag racing applications, you know, neo modified for Hopra, things like that, where you've just got a real high amp draw and you need extra spring tension, and it does work really well. Now here's an example of a 6 ohm level 4 spec racer with the Endbell in there and the helper springs. These are not glued. If you are careful and put this thing together correctly, you don't have to glue those on. Once you kind of get them where you need them to be, they'll stay put. This particular test mule is what I use to, just beat the snot out of it and run it hard, crash it, do everything I could to see if I could dislodge things or whatever, and it's right on it. And I'm very, very pleased. So this particular I don't know if you can see very well how that spring rides on the motor brush once the armature's in there. There is a still picture on my website of this, so you can kind of grasp what's going on. Just want to point out the high points of the part. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that's the bushing. You can see the small ridge that's on the front of it there. But the website's got a good picture of it, so you can see the detail of that. But I just wanted to show you that's what we're using inside the part. Now I will tell you, it is far less fiddly if you put the springs in and then glue them. Get some black max or some thick super glue where it's it doesn't run all over the place. When you try to put them in without that, they may slip a little bit, and you've got to manipulate them a lot to kind of get them where you want them. But once the car is put together, they stay. So anyway, let's just see how you would do this. You put your Endbell on the bulkhead there. Get your brush tool in there where it opens up the brushes. Pop that in. Wunderbar. Put your magnets on, put it back in the car, assemble your car.